All right.
Coach Chizik, what's the general mood now from your perspective on defense? Because obviously, Virginia Tech, not the best offense. So what do you take away from that? Because it was a good performance by y'all overall.
The message really was just, it was the first time that we've probably put together 4 quarters where we could say we were consistent in the execution. Nothing fancy, nothing, a couple of new wrinkles here and there, but nothing out of the ordinary. I thought it was a higher level of focus. I thought it was just all the way around a higher level of execution. I thought they were into the game. When we got up and the game looked like it might be, getting out of hand, there was still a level of focus where you didn't see a drop off. Conversely, if you go back a few weeks ago, using the Appalachian State game as an example, when we got up by 20, I didn't feel like the focus was the same, and then all of a sudden we were in a dogfight at the end. So there were a lot of good takeaways from the game, but again, it's the same thing every Sunday. When we were playing well, why? When we weren't, why? But I was really proud of them because I feel like they really, really worked last week to execute the game plan in practice. And again, it's the first time you can say that you took a complete week of work in practice and then we brought it to the game and it showed up in the game. So again, we're making strides. Now we got to continue to execute consistently at a high level.
Gene, what's the number? We look at stats, box scores, obviously. What's the number from Saturday that you, as a defensive coordinator, liked most? There was a 0 in the second half of the Hokies. I think they ran for 27 yards in the second. Just the first downs. What number do you?
One of the things that we always look at on Sunday is explosive plays given up versus explosive plays that we got as a team, right? And I think the number was 17 that we had offensively to 2. Anytime you can give up 2 explosive plays in a football game, more than likely you're going to be playing really well on defense. That number generally for, most defenses during a game is going to be, in a good game, you're going to give up 7 or 8 in a really good game. In a poor game, you'll give up in the teens, high to mid-teens. And we gave up 2. So I thought that was really a great building block. And then the second half shutout was good. I felt like, when we went in at halftime, there was great communication with what was going on the field. We were able to really have some high-level conversations on, exactly what was happening, intelligent conversations, because they had done some things that they hadn't done and we hadn't seen. Sometimes in the past that's hurt us, but we were able to communicate and, talk about how to handle those things, and they did a good job of that. So, there's several stats that I thought, were, you always want to hold the opponent under 100 yards rushing, which we did. And there was times this year when Virginia Tech really ran the ball well. So that was what we went in with. But if you just look at overall, when you come in, on Sunday and you really look at all of the stats that matter, explosive plays is one of the first things that we look at. So really, really proud of the guys for that, for giving up 2.
How about the 5 straight punts forced in the second half? It looked like they were just sort of popping more, and you could almost see the confidence growing in them as they got off the field each time.
Yeah, it was good to see that it looked like they were playing faster. They were playing more confident. I think as the game went on, I think you saw that happen. I saw it at halftime. We gave up that score, in the last 5 minutes of the half, which was really disappointing. We went into the locker room. We talked about the things that we needed to continue to do and the things that we needed to adjust to. And then they came out in the second half and really, I thought played well. We got them to third down several times. And as you mentioned, we were able to get off the field consistently, which was a big deal. But I felt like just watching it from up there, it was the first time that we had put it together and it looked fast. It looked faster. They looked like they played with more confidence. And I think as the game went on, they continued to have fun and really execute. And, that's what we talked about. We talked about Saturday morning, talked about it on Friday. Just go out and have fun. Go out and have fun do your job, execute, but let's go out and have fun for a change and have fun playing defense no matter what the circumstances were. So I felt like they did that. I think the general mood after the game was that they could feel it, and they understood that it's definitely in us, and we know that. It's been in us. It just hadn't been in us consistently, and I think that's really the difference.
Some of the players said that they thought that the meeting that they had last week kind of helped. There was a residual effect there. Did you sense that they were less stressed, that maybe they kind of shook a tree a little bit, and because of that, they were a little bit quicker in their mind, quicker in their feet as well?
I felt like whether it was the meeting or whatever it was, I felt like there was confidence in the execution of the plan. I felt like a huge priority for them as players was to go out, play for each other, and play and have fun. And I think you could see that unfold. So they need to play that way every week. I mean, we're in Game 6. I mean, the season's half over after Saturday, right? And that's what we talked about, like, the season's half over. There's really nothing more people are going to show you from an offensive scheme that you haven't seen. I mean, in the first 5 games, you see about everything. So go out and have fun. And it was the first time I really felt like they went out there, they had fun, and they ran around and they executed at a high level most of the game. We weren't perfect. A lot of great learning moments that, when we weren't executing the way we need to, but definitely a building block going into conference play. And like we talked about, we're 1-0 in conference play, and now we got to go 2-0. But it was a great confidence builder, I feel like, going into the rest of the ACC schedule.
There's some standout players that stood out to you. We see the stats and everything, but when you watch tape, a couple guys that jumped off the screen to you, whether it be the starters group or even that last quarter we saw the Dawson guys.
Well, it was really good to get some young players in there. We got several young players in there, and I'm not talking about just at the end when the game was in hand. You can point out Cedric Gray every week. You can point out Power Eccles every week. DeAndre Boykin's kind of a guy that's very quiet in terms of, may not always show up in the stat sheets of, or to the naked eye, but he always plays with this attitude and this intentionality of just loving the game and playing physical and hard and fast. And we talked to the defense about him. We gave him the praise yesterday because he played like that again Saturday. He's one of those guys that shows up. He's banged up and he's playing with a cast on his wrist and things, but he always shows up. I thought our defensive line, for the most part, when you look at guys like Ray, Vahasek, I mean, always playing tough, always playing physical down there. Javari Ritzie played well, had to step in. Miles is not playing as much right now. Murphy, and so and some young guys, right? Malachi Hammer got it 20 plays in there and ended up with 4 or 5 tackles. You saw Deuce go in there and do some things at the end of the game too. So it's good to see some young guys in there, but overall it was a performance where guys like DeAndre Boykin had fun. Guys like Gio Biggers showed up. The safeties, I think, are playing a little bit better. They played better Saturday. So all the way around, I think, there were several guys that got some opportunities and made the most of it.
What do you think about Deuce's celebration after the set?
Deuce needs to calm it down a little bit. Deuce needs to calm it down. No, the players love him. He's fun. He loves football. It was so good to get him in there because, we've been banged up at that position too. And think about it, for a young guy to come in there and really the first time he gets an opportunity to play, it's in a league game where everything is on the line, a conference game. He did great. So we're proud of him. We got to keep bringing him along. He's a fun dude to be around and loves football, as you can tell.
Gene, along those same lines with Deuce and the linebackers, what you're asking Power and Sid to do just in terms of the number of snaps that they're playing, what they have on their plate. I mean, I'm sure you have a tremendous amount of respect for that, first of all, but do you ever find yourself saying, like, hey, be careful. I I guess you can't say be careful to a linebacker. Like,
No.
How do you manage that? What you all are asking them to do with the number of people you have injured there behind them, and what you
Yeah.
need to do for this season?
Those two guys are very unique in the fact that they know, they know what's behind them. They know the number of snaps potentially that they have to play. We do have some sub packages where we substitute, either more DBs in there, some more defensive linemen in there, where sometimes we can get them off the field. But it's hard, and especially when you're talking about two of your most productive guys week in and week out, it's really hard to get them off the field sometimes. But you talk about two guys that love the game. They don't want to come off the field. Like, they don't want to be off the field. But, in the same sense, we have to be smart on, and judicious about numbers, reps. And it's hard right now with them, just simply from a depth perspective. But those two guys are resilient. Every Sunday they come in there beat up, banged up. And we have to be smart during the week on how we handle them, right? We got to give them enough reps where they can see what the opponent's doing. But, you can't sit there and bang them up all day, on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, which is essentially your physical days of practice. So you have to be smart with how we handle that. And I think we've done a really good job with it. But those guys have played a lot of plays, and I'll tell you, two tough dudes who absolutely love playing, and they're the center of the defense. I don't think there's anybody that would, deny that. It's indisputable. So, but they got to play a lot of plays, and they know it, they love it, and our job is just try to keep them as healthy as we can.
Cedric said Saturday, he's like, I don't want to come out anyway. But I was wondering if, like, you see college basketball teams sometimes have a substitution coach, like to hit the head coach and be like, hey, get it.
Right.
Hot out of there.
Right.
Do y'all have a guy or a person?
Yes, we have a pitch count. We have a pitch count for the players on game day, for sure. We're always looking at how much they're playing. In most positions that we have a rotation going where we can really, kind of track that and have a great plan. At that position right now, just because of the way the circumstances are, that's one position we don't really have that luxury. Not that we can't. We have to be smart when we do it, but it's definitely a discussion every week that we have. The ability to do that depends on circumstances during the game. It's probably the only position on our defense where we really struggle with number of plays for individuals. Every other place we're usually really we stick to our plan, and it ends up going just about as we thought it would. But this one's a little bit different, so we got to do what we got to do. But again, I think it does matter how we handle them during the week. Is as important as how we handle them on game day.
Staying on that, we saw what we saw from Deuce the other day, but where is he in the process of catching up where he can be trusted in a variety of situations if he has to go in there because of a targeting or an injury or something like that?
Yes. Coming along, Ra obviously was not, didn't dress out. So he kind of got thrown in to more of the mix last week, which is really good because now, again, we can keep bringing him along. It's baby steps. And when he's in the game, we have to be, I have to be mindful of what, sometimes when guys are in the game, you have to be mindful of what you're calling. So when you have a young guy in there, especially at that position when there's so much going on, right? It's not like you just go in there and rush the passer. You have run fits. Where do I fit in the defense? Where do I fit if there's a pressure called? Oh, it's pass. Where do I fit now in the pass game? So linebacker has, a lot of moving parts. So you have to be smart about what you're calling when he's in there based on what you feel comfortable with that he can execute at a high level when, everything's happening fast. So, but we'll continue to bring him along. I thought he did an excellent job preparing last week. Coach Thig did a great job getting him prepared. And we'll give him more this week. We'll give him some more baby steps, implement a little bit more, feed him a little bit more this week, and he'll continue to grow.
Gene, Tyler Van Dyke is probably the best quarterback you're going to face, or you have faced this season to this point. What is it about him that stands out to you, at least initially?
Yeah, he's got a big arm. He can make every throw, and he's confident that he can make every throw. He can throw it all the way across the field. He's got a really, really nice deep ball. He's very, very accurate, but a lot of confidence in, the balls that he throws. And obviously he's got great receivers. Miami's always going to have great, athletic guys that can run and are fast. So he can throw all of the throws, right? He can throw all the deep balls. He'll take the shots. He can throw it all the way to the open side of the field, on the long side of the field, on the boundary, 18 to 20 yards deep, with comebacks. He's got great vision, and, he sees the field very well. So he's a big guy, 6'4"ish, and he can see. But it's his confidence and his accuracy that really makes him the quarterback that he is. And when he's got time now, he can do it. So he'll be the best one. He'll be one of the best ones we've played for sure. And he's confident, and they've had 2 weeks to prepare. So, but again, everything comes down to pass rush and being able to get some pressure and things of that nature. Because if you don't get it on him, he can shred your defense.
Gene, the third down package, I guess it's obviously your dime package. You get the extra DB in, you get one of the linebackers out. I wanted to ask you about, it seems like you're getting some more and more good things out of that. On the obvious passing downs, you get Cowan in there, you get Kamen in there, you get Malachi Hamrick in there, Will Hardy. Just what are you seeing with that? And it seems like it's doing okay for you. Do you guys have a catchy name for it other than dime? Like, is it the Turbo package?
No, it's Turbo package. No, we don't have the Turbo package. No, we're low key dime. That's what we call it. It's been good. I think it's getting better. I think it's growing a little bit. The more the guys can execute with it, and it gives you a chance to get fresh legs on the field in a lot of ways. So it's not just schematically that that we're just guruing everything up, right? You get fresh bodies on the field, and you get guys where now the reps have carried over, and the calls are becoming more familiar. And obviously we tweak things every week, but just the new bodies, the fresh bodies, and the speed on the field, I think changes everything. So it's been good to us the last couple of weeks.
I guess work on a name for it.
Yeah, I will do that. I don't know if I can come up with something as clever as Turbo, but we'll.
Got the star, you got the jack.
Yeah, we got the star and the jack. Well, I'll do that. Maybe on the off week. Maybe we'll come on the off week.
Jeremy on the off week.
That's it.
You guys good?
Yes.
All right, guys. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.